Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a monumental stack of research, analyst reports, and high-level notes, and we distill it all down so you get the key insights you need fast. Our mission today is to, well, really tear into the tectonic shifts happening across the global media and entertainment, the M&E sector. And the story we have in our hands is enormous. We're primarily focused on the explosive disruption and just the massive scale coming out of India, coupled with the relentless disruptive force of artificial intelligence. And we're talking about an Indian M&E sector that saw over 8% growth in 2023, which is huge, especially when you think about the rest of the world grappling with economic turbulence.
It's more than acceleration. It's a full paradigm shift. If you look at the projections, I mean, the industry hit INR 2.32 trillion in 2023. And that figure is expected to swell by nearly a third to INR 0.08 trillion by 2026. This isn't just, organic population growth driving the numbers. What our sources really highlight, and what we need to zoom in on immediately, is the concept that really defines this era. And that is, this is not a digital divide where legacy media is just being cannibalized.
Okay, let's unpack that central concept, because that really challenges the standard narrative. If it's not a divide, what is it?
It's what the analysts are calling a digital multiplier. New media is additive.
Additive? How so?
It's creating entirely new revenue streams, new consumption habits that don't necessarily replace the old ones. They actually increase the size of the total pie. If you think about how TV advertising is still really robust, even while digital streaming is just exploding alongside it.
Right. And this multiplication effect, it's caused this collision of worlds that used to operate completely separately. You look at the sources and you see the surprising convergence of three massive power centers: Madison Avenue, Hollywood, and Silicon Valley.
Yes. For decades, Madison Avenue handled the budget, the messaging. They were the gatekeepers of brand communication.
Right. The ad guys.
Exactly. And Hollywood held the keys to intellectual property and, a compelling storytelling. And Silicon Valley, they just provided the pipes and the platforms. Now, those walls are gone. They're converging because content isn't just a product anymore. It's become this integrated system for community and commerce. It's all fused together on platforms where the audience immediately transacts, shares, and consumes.
What's fascinating here is that the creation of the content itself is decentralizing. We're seeing a whole new economic engine emerge from this convergence.
Absolutely. We're seeing the rise of what's called the social commerce economy. This is where the creator economy steps in. Creators, individuals, not the large studios, are now doing the work that creative agencies use to charge millions for.
And they're doing it by fusing entertainment and transactions seamlessly, turning followers into immediate customers.
It's immediate, it's authentic, and it's hyper-targeted. And that leads us directly to the monumental shift in where the money's actually flowing in M&E advertising.
Yeah, let's focus on the financial gravity of this, because 2023 was a real landmark year.
It was. For the first time, new media officially overtook traditional media in advertising revenue.
That is a fundamental turning point. I mean, you read about it for years, but the moment it actually happens, the implication is massive. So new media, which is digital and crucially online gaming now, accounts for what, 52% of total ad revenue?
52%, leaving traditional media with 48%. And that ratio is only going to widen. Digital media is projected to be the fastest growing segment with, I think it's a 13.5% compound annual growth rate expected.
Wow.
But what's really interesting is how quickly digital reach has scaled up, especially in a market like India.
Okay, give us the reach numbers, because they provide context for this financial leap. We know traditional media still reaches massive numbers. TV hits 800 million consumers and print, 300 million?
Right. But digital has closed that gap dramatically. And now it boasts a reach of 600 million users. The difference is, though, that digital offers precision, where traditional offers brute force coverage.
And that precision is the core of what our sources are calling the commerce intelligence engine.
Exactly. That's where AI stops being this, theoretical tool and becomes an active revenue generator.
You mentioned hyper-targeted advertising.
So what does AI actually look like when it's running this engine?
It looks like automation at the speed of thought. We're seeing tools like dedicated AI SDRs, that stands for Sales Development Representatives.
Okay, so the SDR is usually the person whose job it is to do all that initial outreach, qualify leads, and nurture them before they talk to a human salesperson.
Precisely. And now that entire job can be managed by AI. The AI automates and optimizes that outreach. using hyper-personalization by analyzing behavioral signals in real time. It's also driving CRM systems, constantly keeping data fresh and actionable.
So it's making sure that when an ad is placed, it hits the consumer at the exact moment of highest potential conversion. That's the goal. And the outcome of that optimization is what really jumped out in our sources. It's not just anecdotal efficiency. It's really metric-driven improvement.
Right.
Absolutely. Companies that implemented these AI marketing agents reported an average 25% increase in customer engagement rates.
A 25% increase. If you're a marketer, increasing qualified engagement by a quarter is, that's a complete game changer.
It is. And if you're looking at the balance sheet, the cost savings are just as dramatic. The same companies reported a 30% reduction in operational costs.
And that's from automating those repetitive tasks, campaign optimization, bidding, lead nurturing.
All of it. It frees up human teams to focus only on high-value strategy. That's efficiency you can measure in billions.
Speaking of billions, let's pivot from advertising efficiency to production. Because AI is transforming not just how content is marketed, but how it's created.
And the speed and scale is expected to provide an estimated INR 450 billion boost to the Indian M&E sector by 2027.
INR 450 billion. That's a staggering figure to attribute to a technological shift. Where exactly is that money coming from? Is it new revenue or savings?
It's a dual impact. Roughly 10% comes from sheer revenue growth, so more content reaching more markets, and the remaining 15% comes from massive cost efficiencies within the production pipeline itself.
And the key factor here is just speed, the speed of creation.
Dramatically fast. We looked at some case studies, and before AI integration, the creative turnaround time for certain types of content was anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks.
Which is pretty standard.
Right. But with AI integrated into the workflow, that time has just collapsed to 3 to 5 days. Think about the capacity for volume that unlocks.
That reduction means media companies can finally meet this insatiable global demand for localized content. And this is where the Indian market is a perfect illustration.
It is the ultimate example. AI-assisted localization and dubbing is key here. Previously, dubbing was prohibitively expensive, and let's be honest, it often sounded unrealistic.
A bit clunky.
Yeah, which limited its scale. Now, AI can rapidly and cost-effectively localize content into dozens of regional languages.
Yeah.
It unlocks new revenue streams globally and domestically.
And the audience acceptance is high. We're seeing data points that show the dubbing of English content into Indian languages has accelerated significantly, and something like 46% of viewers are consuming it in their native language.
That's a huge, previously underserved market that AI is making immediately accessible.
So that's one area. Where else in production?
Another critical area where speed matters is in the visual pipeline, post-production and VFX. These tasks have always been massive bottlenecks.
Right. The painstaking frame-by-frame work.
Exactly. AI-powered tools are automating the complex, repetitive tasks, things like motion tracking, rotoscoping, even preliminary CGI rendering.
Yeah.
This drastically reduces production timelines for high-quality features. It gives studios more shots per season for the same budget.
And then you have the final mile application of Gen AI, which is the audience-facing personalization on streaming platforms, the OTTs.
Right. This is about making sure the content you just produced at lightning speed actually gets seen by the right person.
And it's more than just, you watch this, so you'll like that.
Oh, it's a far more sophisticated operation now. Gen AI is used for hyper-personalized recommendations that go way beyond simple genre matching. They analyze micro-interactions like how long you hover over a title, what time of day you watch, whether you pause frequently.
All these little signals.
Exactly. And analysts are predicting that this depth of hyper-personalization, which keeps viewers locked in and satisfied, could boost subscription revenues for OTT platforms by 20 to 30%.
Wow.
And significantly improve all the key user engagement metrics. The ultimate goal is near-perfect retention.
So we have this incredible story of financial growth, market convergence, and this unprecedented efficiency driven by AI. But here's where we hit the absolute brick wall that no algorithm can easily solve. Trust. We have to address the credibility crisis AI is fostering, especially in high-stakes reporting and news.
This takes us into the realm of what's called cognitive trust. That fundamental belief you have in the accuracy and reliability of the information being presented to you.
And what's fascinating and frankly a little concerning is the data showing there's a clear trust gap.
There is. It means people inherently distrust something if they know AI was involved in its creation.
Even if it's correct.
Precisely. Studies show that AI-generated articles are less trusted, even when researchers verify their content is factually accurate. The mere knowledge of algorithmic authorship introduces skepticism. The audience just gets defensive.
And that defensiveness probably sharpens when the subject matter is sensitive.
Absolutely. The Reuters Institute survey confirmed this. More than half of American and European participants were uncomfortable with AI-generated news, especially on high-stakes topics like politics or social upheaval or crime reporting.
Things that require a human touch.
They demand human judgment, empathy, and context qualities algorithms just don't possess.
This inherent human hesitation, it sort of helps explain the surprising resilience of traditional media, especially legacy brands that have successfully transitioned to digital.
They leverage that bedrock of trust. I mean, established media brands like the Washington Post and the New York Times, they're surviving and thriving as digital players by charging subscription money.
Because people will pay for credibility.
They'll pay a premium for it in a world flooded with dubious content. They know there are strong editorial standards.
So the answer can't be to just throw AI out of the newsroom because the efficiency is too valuable. The sources seem to recommend a different model entirely.
The consensus is the hybrid newsroom. It's about prioritizing transparency above all else. We need content branded with human plus AI authorship.
So you tell the audience exactly what they are consuming.
Right, which helps mitigate that immediate cognitive defensiveness. But the sources are very clear that no matter how sophisticated AI gets, there's an irreplaceable human component, particularly in journalism.
And that component is the ground reporting.
It is. AI can synthesize data, can write initial drafts, but it cannot conduct an eyewitness interview in a disaster zone. It can't gather the context, the nuance, or the human element that makes news meaningful and credible.
Yeah.
That human judgment, that physical presence, remains the core, irreplaceable skill.
And it's not just about what you print, it's about how you manage the tools that generate it. Some organizations are already moving quickly on governance.
They have to. We're seeing major media organizations like The Guardian setting up algorithmic watchdog committees.
So what do these committees do?
These groups are tasked with constantly reviewing their public policies around AI use. They're trying to ensure fairness, monitor for internal bias, and maintain alignment with their own journalistic standards. They're essentially creating an ethical firewall.
That firewall leads us directly into the new regulatory landscape. This explosive data-driven growth of the M&E sector means that regulation is, well, it's no longer optional. It's a mandatory cost of doing business, particularly around data privacy.
This is a massive adjustment, especially in India, with the enactment of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, or DPDPA, in 2023. This act applies broadly to all processing of digitized personal data within India.
And it has profound implications for M&E companies that, thrive on user data.
It does. What's the immediate compliance hurdle for a company that runs a major streaming service or an ad platform? First and foremost, they must proactively gain full visibility into every piece of personal data they handle. The law introduces new accountability.
And it's not just consumer data, right?
Crucially, no. Compliance doesn't just apply to the consumer data they use for personalization. It extends to employee data and the data they share with third-party partners.
And the stakes, I imagine, they jump exponentially when children are involved.
This is the highest stakes mandate of the DPDPA. M&E companies are now required to obtain verifiable parental consent for processing children's data, which is technically very difficult to implement at scale.
And what about advertising?
This is the most dramatic change for marketers. Targeted advertising directed at children is now prohibited.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Wow, that single mandate essentially requires companies to dramatically rewire large segments of their digital advertising models that target younger demographics. The idea of building a profile on a child viewer is now highly restricted.
Exactly. It forces M&E companies to be transparent, conservative, and ethically rigorous when dealing with young audiences. Now, there's another tension point raised by the source material we should touch on: the hidden cost of this digital revolution. The environmental impact.
It's an easy contradiction to miss. We often think of digital as cleaner than traditional media.
Well, traditional print media certainly had major environmental drawbacks: deforestation, the waste from overproduction, a massive carbon footprint from printing and distribution. But the digital world has created its own sustainability crisis: the global e-waste epidemic.
The life cycle of our devices is the culprit.
That's right. The smartphones, tablets, smart TVs, they're often renewed or replaced every 2 to 3 years. This creates colossal volumes of e-waste containing risky, non-biodegradable materials, and a constant demand for more processing power to run complex algorithms.
Including Gen AI.
Including Gen AI, yes. That just exacerbates this. This is why research into sustainable AI and energy-efficient computational models is absolutely critical. The industry has to develop algorithms that achieve efficiency without constantly demanding newer disposable hardware.
So what does this all mean for you, the person trying to make sense of this massive industry? The M&E sector is, it seems, being fundamentally pulled in two powerful directions at the same time.
It really is. On one side, you have this incredibly profitable and dynamic growth driven by AI innovation and market convergence. It's leading to unprecedented content volume and operational efficiency. That's the story of the digital multiplier creating wealth.
And on the other side, that wealth and efficiency are intensely tempered by these critical challenges that demand human solutions, specifically around consumer cognitive trust, the necessity of ethical governance, and the mandate to comply with powerful data privacy regulations like the DPDPA.
The ultimate takeaway here for the media powerhouses is that their future success hinges entirely on their ability to integrate AI seamlessly but responsibly. They have to leverage the efficiency gains while ensuring that the core product, be it entertainment or news, maintains human-level journalistic integrity and adheres to the highest ethical and legal standards.
This leaves us with a final provocative question for you to consider as you navigate this information landscape. Given that Gen Z and Gen Alpha are digital natives, I mean, they've only ever known a world shaped by these hyper-personalized content streams. How will media companies balance algorithmic hyper-personalization, which, let's be honest, undeniably boosts engagement and revenues, with the fundamental democratic need for a credible information space that ensures citizens are exposed to diverse, often challenging viewpoints?
That tension between optimized engagement and necessary credibility is what's going to define the media landscape for the next decade.